everything is resealable. But yeah, so here we have that robotic skull. I am not sure what that is supposed to reference. I guess we'll find out sometime in the future. I don't believe it's in the mini comic either, not from the pages I saw from other people who looked at it. So yeah, I cheated a little bit when it came to looking at stuff. But yeah, the artwork's pretty nice. But they always do a really good job on these collector-friendly boxes. Oh, well, that's going to be fun to figure out. So here's King Grayskull in all of his glory. Sadly, they used little doodads to hold that in place. Oh. You can reseal them for display. You still have to destroy all the tacky things. And of course, they've got tape in the back of the package too. Is there another one? I once again will reiterate, I hate those little plastic tabby things. I liked it better when they did the rubber bands. So, first off, I am pleased to announce that the cape does appear to be a new cape for him. Let's go ahead and go over the articulation for King Grayskull here. First off, he does have the ball joint at the head, so you can look up a little bit and down a little bit, turn his head a bit, but the tails on the front and the tail in the back do hinder articulation quite a bit. His arm can hinge upwards and downwards and spin around. Nothing really hindered there. We've got the hinge at the elbow, and of course it's got a little bit of a spin there. Hand has a spin and the in and out articulation. We can do the 360 here at the waist and spin them all around. You put your left leg in. You put your right leg in, you put your right leg out, you put your right leg in, and you twist it all about. You do the hokey pokey. You can also spread his leg that way. And as shown, the knee does have a swivel and can bend. The boot cut itself also has a swivel. And we have the ankle pivot and the spin at the bottom. So pretty standard articulation for the Origins figures. Now we can go ahead and try to bring his cape up here like so, to try to make it look like it's supposed to. But that's not turning out very well. And of course, the residue on the glue is causing a bit of problems with the cape. But what we really want to do is see how much of his stuff is actually reused from the Masterverse version. Because right now it does look like the head is just the same as the Masterverse one. So let's go ahead and pop his head off. And his harness. It does appear that his harness may actually be a new piece. But let's bring out our buddy here from Masterverse. Take that apart. And our first bit of comparison is going to be the head. Okay, so the head sculpt is actually different. Well, I'm pretty sure they used the same head sculpt, just enlarged it for the Origins figure, which seems a bit weird to say, considering the Origins figures are shorter. But they do look like they are exact duplicates of each other. Even the twists in the hair are the same. So yeah, they just scaled up the... I think it's safe to say they pretty much just scaled up the head. I mean, there's a bit more of a twist to the ponytail back here, but otherwise, everything else does look pretty much exactly the same. And that might just be the way the figure was sitting. So, it's not just... It probably is a reuse of the same head, just enlarged. You know, the way that you would find like generic action figures at the flea market in packaging with weird names showing that the figure themselves are scaled up versions. I saw like a 12-inch rat trap once. I wish I'd bought it. Now we get to the harness and the cape. I was 100% expecting them to just reuse the harness too, but the harness is also a different mold. The symbol's even a bit different on the Origins version. That's kind of surprising, though it does look a little bit more like the 2000X one, just thinner. He does have a spot for his sword. We'll try to see if we can fit that in there with that. Now let's take the cape off. Yeah, just a scaled down version of the cape from Masterverse also. I mean, I don't necessarily want to say same technology, but yeah, basically the same technology. No big old tag though, and I wonder if that's because this was a special item and not just for retail sale. But they did use the same setup here pretty much with the capes to hook them to the figure. Oops. And of course, he comes with a power sword in a blue plastic. I think this is supposed to reference the Classics version where they showed Hero's power sword was blue with little shiny bits in it. And then King Grayskull came with the power sword that was turning from the blue shiny thing to the to silver. So I think that's where this is supposed to reference. I would have rather they'd just given us like a glow-in-the-dark power sword or something if they wanted to do something special. I don't know why Mattel doesn't want to put out a glow-in-the-dark power sword. It's starting to annoy me. But his harness is designed to hold the power sword. So we can fit the power sword in the harness like so. The problem is that I'm going to assume that both his ponytail and the cape is going to get interfering with that when we actually do that. So let's do that. I do like that they use Velcro on the cape in order to make it easier to take on and off of the harness. And yet I somehow managed to screw that up. That's kind of impressive. All right. So for the moment, we can still get the power sword in his sheath. So far, so good. Now then, everything is covered up by the ponytail. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so we need to angle the sword a little bit. And then it mostly works. Except for he's too back heavy now. There we go. Now, just for comparison's sake, we do have the 2000X version that I made as a custom figure a while ago. As you can see, he does have, they did go with a similar design for the logo as the original 2000 version had. Just a little bit thinner and a slightly more stylized. And of course, surprisingly, his face looks smaller. But still. To be fair, I still prefer my 2000X version to the Revelations version. And he will be keeping the Throne of Grayskull when I come to my display, because King Grayskull here is going to go back in his package and he will be displayed in package in my display, like most of the other collector figures that I have. And I'll eventually, I should try to get a picture of what I've set up. I have to clean up the display. One last thing to note, though, also is that his cape does not have the wire in it like the Master Bros version did, which is what I used on him. And I think it's a lot harder to get the cape all the way up there on him like that. I kind of think they should have gone ahead and just given us the power sword like this and done it as two separate halves. If they, also would have been nice if they weren't going to give us a glow in the dark one. Yes, I'm going to go ranting about the glow in the dark thing again. But I guess they didn't really want to do that either. But they made the big deal about how King Grayskull in Revelations, and since this is based on Revelations, got the sword parts from, heaven and earth, for lack of a better term, or heaven and hell, for lack of a better term. They probably should have given us two halves of a power sword for him as well. Actually, that would have been kind of cool, though, if he had came with both the full sword and two halves. That would have been pretty nice, too. Anyway, that is our look at the exclusive Revelation-style King Grayskull that came with the Eternian playset. I had just received my Eternian playset a couple hours ago, and the box is huge. I know it's a 4-foot tall playset, yet I still had not been expecting the box to be almost 4 feet. So the logistics of how I'm going to try to do that one, because I don't even know if I can put that on a table and reach the top of it, because I'm not that tall either. So anyway, we will be taking a look at that. Hopefully I can get something recorded this weekend for it and post next week. Otherwise, hopefully by the week after that, we'll have the Eternian thing, and I can go over the issues that I found with the mini comic after watching other people talk about it online. Anyway, peace and love.